Okay, I'd like to call the September 9th, 2014 meeting of the Salem Keizer School Board to order. Our first order of business is the Pledge of Allegiance, and tonight, the mics aren't on? Is that better? Okay, tonight's first order of business is the Pledge of Allegiance, and we have some young men from our community here, members of 3 scout troops from West Salem, and one from each troop is going to come up and help lead us in the Pledge of Allegiance. Please come forward. Thank you. Thank you very much. You're here working on your citizenship merit badge, is that correct? All right, thank you. Okay, Chrissy, roll call, please.
Rick Kimball,
Here.
Nancy McMorris Audix,
Here.
Chris Brantley is excused, Jeff Fayville,
Here.
Jim Green,
Here.
Paul Kylo,
Here.
Chuck Lee is also excused.
Thank you, Christy. As far as agenda modifications go, you should have a revised board plate item 4A1 on approval of revisions of board policy BG10 in front of you. And there's no other changes tonight in the agenda. Next is spotlights on success, and I'll turn it over to Superintendent Perry.
All right, good evening. Our first spotlight this month is the Volunteer of the Month, and it's going to be presented by Karina Lee, Executive Director of the Salem Keizer Education Foundation. And Karina, I just also want to say thank you for a great lunch today and a great tribute to your organization. It was awesome. I know this is a spotlight on somebody else, but I just wanted to say thank you for the work that you do.
Thank you for your support, and thank you for everyone that was there supporting us, but more importantly, supporting the people that make happen what we're able to do for the schools and the students. It's the community that makes that happen. Thank you. And speaking of people in this community that make things happen for students, I would very much like to welcome Janet Webster as the Volunteer of the Month, along with her current principal, Julia DeWitt from Whitaker, and Whitaker's past principal, Laura Perez. You are our Volunteer of the Month, Janet Webster. Whitaker Middle School nominated her and recognized her because of the many, many hours that she has volunteered in the past 7 years at Whitaker Middle School. She has spent almost every single Wednesday for the past 2 years at the school weeding and planting in the courtyard. Her constant dedication and attention to the courtyard has left it looking very lovely and welcoming, and a sense of pride for the students and the staff. The Whitaker students, especially those in the DLC rooms, love the results of the tremendous amount of time and work she has given to the school. Janet knits hats for the students in the DLC, the ERC, and the Emotional Growth Center for many, many years, and the students love them and appreciate them. Thank you for your hard work and your support of the Salem Keizer students and the schools. Congratulations, Janet. I'd also like to point out the striking resemblance between the two ladies. Janet is Laura's mother.
All right, our next presentation goes to our Business Partner of the Month, and our presenter will be Jay Remy.
Thank you, Superintendent Perry, Chair Kimball, and members of the board. Today we would like to honor Salem Tennis and Swim Club as our Business Partner of the Month for September. So if Rhonda Spencer could come forward, and I understand she has a guest with her who's a relative of hers. And we also have some of our athletic directors as well as one of our tennis coaches to help honor Rhonda and Salem Tennis and Swim Club. So we have Joel Dunn, our athletic director from North High, Brian Armstrong, AD from South High, and Todd Bobita, our tennis coach from South. We want to recognize Salem Tennis and Swim Club and manager Rhonda Spencer as our business partner of the month. The club is home to many of the Salem Keizer players both in and out of the high school season. Salem Tennis and Swim has hosted the conference's tennis tournament for many years at no cost to the schools. The club basically closes as one tournament takes all 11 of their courts for 2 to 3 days. And I'm told that in the tennis world, this is a huge sacrifice to both the club members and the board, but they do it as a gift to the Salem Keizer schools and to the students. One of our athletic directors states that it is safe to say the partnership with the club has saved our high schools many thousands of dollars that have been used to support students and athletes in ways not possible without the club's generosity. South Salem High School doesn't have home courts, so Salem Tennis and Swim formed a partnership with the school to allow the South team to use the facilities to host all of their home tournaments. The South tennis teams are very grateful for the generosity of the club. The club also hosts a junior varsity tournament every year and various invitationals for a nominal fee. Thank you for your continued support of Salem Keizer Public Schools and the students, and congratulations on being named our Business Partner of the Month for September. Thank you.
All right, our next presentation spotlight will be from Mira Keizer.
In August, Miles Cook, third grade student from Candelaria Elementary, was one of 13 students whose art was selected to be included in an annual calendar for the Oregon Agriculture in the Classroom Foundation. There were over 1,500 entries of art depicting Oregon agriculture. Miles' artwork was selected as one of the winners. Miles Cook is a very talented young artist. Since Oregon produces over 220 different agriculture commodities, students had a wide variety of subjects from which to choose to illustrate. Miles chose to paint an old-fashioned beehive using watercolor. If you didn't see or get the calendar, his artwork will be published with a spotlight story on the district website at salemkeizer.org, and he's got it right there. In addition to having his artwork published in the calendar, Miles received $50 and a certificate. Congratulations, Miles. He even signed it.
Awesome. All right, our next spotlight presenter will be Mike Wolf.
Good evening, Chair Kimball, Superintendent Perry, members of the board. I'd like Jasmine Horn, Terry Sanders to come forward with Transportation Director Michael Shields and Operations Manager Mitchell Hamilton. We'd like to recognize two of our high achievers in the Transportation Department. The 40th annual Oregon Pupil Transportation Association State Safety Exercise was held at Summit High School in Bend on May 31st this year, and there were a total of 71 participants in the all-day event. Salem Keizer was well represented. In fact, taking first place in general transit was Jasmine Horn. Yeah, very good. Yeah. Jasmine's win qualified her for the international exercises held in South Carolina in July. Unfortunately, she was not able to attend, which is a bummer because we're sure she would have won something there as well. But other trophy winners from our transportation department were second place team trophy, Tammy Wiggins, Cindy Berkey, and Jasmine Horn. Again, fourth place general conventional, Terry Thompson, and fourth place general transit, Cindy Berkey. Thank you so much, Jasmine. We want you to know how very proud we are of you. And Terry Sanders received the Buck Clem Special Needs Transportation Award presented at the Oregon Pupil Transportation Association's annual banquet held on June 18th in Bend. Terry was nominated and selected for having made a special contribution to pupil transportation in the area of special needs. Terry was recognized for being largely responsible for coordinating the transportation of special needs students in our district. He processes thousands of changes per year is an integral part of the transportation operations, and with over 10 years of experience in the district, he is certainly a valuable resource for drivers, coworkers, parents, and school staff. Thank you, Terry. Congratulations to both of you.
The next order of business is audience communication on agenda items, and nobody has signed up to speak on agenda items today. Was there anyone who wanted to speak on an agenda item that failed to sign up? Seeing no one, we'll continue on to our action items. There are none tonight, so we'll go on to adoption of the consent calendar. In this part of the agenda, we adopt all the items under it on one vote. Tonight, we have 2 items under the school board. There are a couple of revisions to our board policies, BG 10 and also EL 12. And the business part tonight has to do with grant budgets as well as a resolution on tax exempt installment purchase agreement. And then we have some personnel actions tonight. Is there any of these items that need to be pulled by a board member tonight? Seeing none, I'll entertain a motion to adopt the consent calendar as drafted. Nancy moves.
So moved.
Second.
Second by Paul. All in favor, say aye.
Aye.
Opposed? It's unanimous, Christie. Readings, tonight we have one reading, and I'll turn this over to Chief Operating Officer Michael Wolf.
Again, good evening, Chair Campbell, Superintendent Perry, members of the board. Tonight is the first reading for, let me get to the right page here, sorry about that. The PERS pension obligation bond, the sale of pension obligation bonds. And at the August 26th work session, the school board received information regarding the opportunity to create savings for the district by bonding our PERS unfunded actuarial liability. The district can issue pension obligation bonds to pay down its portion of the state school pool UAL. The actual payoff amount will be determined by PERS actuarial and will inform the district's decision in determining the size of the issuance. The proceeds from the issuance of the bonds will be added to the district's side accounts that already exist with PERS and are already performing well for the district. The district would benefit from selling the bonds if the bonds are issued at a rate lower than the PERS 7.75% assumed earnings rate, and then the proceeds of the bonds earn at an average rate of return that is greater than the interest rate of the bonds. So in essence, this is an opportunity for the school district to essentially pay its obligation for the unfunded actuarial at a lower interest rate than what we would pay if we did nothing and allowed the PERS 7.75 earning rate to drive the cost for us. There is a preliminary analysis by Eco Northwest that indicates there is a greater than 80% probability that the district would benefit from this transaction if the true interest cost of the bonds is at 4.5%, and about a 70% probability if the interest rate of the bonds would be around 5.5%. So the district will receive a valuation from the Oregon, from PERS on September 26th. That will be the summation valuation. That will give us an idea about what our actual 2013 valuation is, and will give us an indication of what our unfunded actuarial liability would be at that point. And then after the evaluation is received, staff would consult with our financial and legal experts, Piper Jaffray and Hawkins, Delafield, and Wood, to develop a recommendation on the maximum interest rate for the sale of the bonds. It would be a percentage not to exceed. So when we enter the bond market, if you give us authority to do that, then we would have a limitation on the true interest cost, a not to exceed amount. And if we couldn't reach that, lower than that amount, then we wouldn't proceed with the transaction. So again, this is presented as a first reading and will return for action at the October 14th meeting next month. And then there's a whole schedule. We would basically be scheduled for a mid-January sale of the bonds. So there's quite a bit of prep work that needs to go in after the authorizing resolution, but we would be targeting a mid-January at the earliest sale of the bonds. I'd like to entertain any questions.
Any questions? Nancy?
I think you probably went over this in the work session, and I just want to clarify that the funds to buy these bonds would be in the budgeted allocation to pay the unfunded actuarial liability.
The debt service.
Yeah.
Yeah, absolutely. Yeah, we have that already set up in our PERS and general obligation bond account. Yep.
Paul?
As I read the draft resolution, I mean, I assume you have a copy of that too. Under section 1, number sub 3, do you know I understand it's not Oregon taxable, but do you know what we paid last year on this account for the feds? Or an approximate amount what we pay in the future?
What we paid?
Well,
We don't pay.
Okay.
This is for the actual bond holders.
oh, I got it, okay.
Okay.
I'm good. I got it. I missed a word.
Okay.
I'm okay.
Great.
Jim?
So looking at that same agreement, Mike, on section 1, subsection 4, the italicized underline, that's the percentage at which, if it's deemed that it's not going to be cost effective, you working with Piper Jaffray, our consultant, would tell us we're not going to the bond market because that's the price we've set.
Right, and so for action next month, we will have these two highlighted areas, the one above it, which.
Right up under the whereas,
Yes.
right?
Which talks about what the actual actuarial amount would be for the 2013 valuation, which doesn't come out until September 26th. And then the actual district-specific won't come out until later, but we should have a pretty good idea what our unfunded actuarial liability is on September 26th. That should, we're expecting that, as we discussed in the board work session, to be lower than the 2012 valuation. We just don't know how much yet, but the market's been performing really well. That wouldn't drive the decision for the board as much as what the maximum true interest cost would be that we would not exceed in the bond market. And that's the second highlighted percentage,
That part in section 1, subsection 4.
sub 4.
Thanks.
Any other questions tonight of mine?
I was going to ask if he could put it in Cub Scout language, but that wouldn't be a fair question. I was going to try to help the scouts in the room.
And we want to pay down at a lower interest rate.
There you go. Say
Still
that
not
one more
making any
time.
sense. Wait till you have to pay a mortgage.
Thank you, Mike.
Thanks, Mike.
So that'll be coming back to us next month for action. Next on the agenda are reports, and we have one tonight. I'll turn it over to Superintendent Perry.
Right, this report is on executive limitation number 3. It's a third of 12 monitoring reports scheduled for this year. And really at this point in the year, remember, we're looking back to last year's practices. So executive limitation number 3 is relationship with students, parents, and citizens. And with respect to the relationships with parents, students, citizens, the superintendent shall not cause or allow condition, procedures, actions, or decisions which are unlawful, unethical, unsafe, disrespectful, disruptive, undignified, or a violation of board policy. And I'm going to skip the rest of that because you've had it in your board plate and go down to the evidence of compliance. So we've realized that our administrative policies, rules clearly delineate the protection of our confidential information. We have a written complaint procedure that is shared through parent handbooks and the district's website. And additionally, parents have options of where to file complaints outside of the school district. The superintendent, assistant superintendent, chief operations officer, and cabinet level directors meet and gather input from external stakeholders on a regular basis. And some examples of this include our interactions with the Chamber of Commerce, Stand for Children, Marion County Commission on Children and Families, Coalition for Equality, and our local legislators. And I think, as you know from your reports from me, I've already begun those listening sessions for this year. We meet regularly with our associations through a variety of venues and communication groups. We have a licensed and classified staff communication group that meets regularly. Last year, there was a student communication group that met quarterly, and we'll continue to have that quarterly this year as well. We, in collaboration with the Salem Area Chamber of Commerce, the second State of the School District presentation was held last spring, and Dr. Radish did that and I think reported to you about that. We have a long-standing practice for the approval and communication of school calendar and boundary change process. You saw the boundary change process come through the boardroom last year. We have a district budget process that provides public input, and we, Dr. Radish last year did a number of school visits, and we had some testimony at the board meetings. And then the communication department, when requested by an administrator, provides public relation training to staff in schools and departments, and actually probably does that every single day. So there were no evidence of non-compliance.
Yeah, I'll remind the board that the executive limitations are part of our analysis in the superintendent's evaluation. Are there any questions on this item tonight? If there aren't any, I'm looking for a thumbs up consensus. It's an adequate report. Okay, thank you. All right, next is information items in our board plate. You'll notice our next meeting is our October business meeting. We do not have a work session later in September. So we don't have a work session topic yet for 5 o'clock on October 14th, but we'll be working, leadership will work with the superintendent and see if we have an item that warrants putting in there. So. Next is audience communications on non-agenda items. We have no one signed up to speak to us on non-agenda items. Was there anyone who wanted to speak on a non-agenda item that did not get a chance to sign up? Okay, seeing no one, we'll go on to board reports on activities. Anything anybody wants to share is what they've been up to. Jim?
I apologize I couldn't make the foundation luncheon today, but I heard it was very good. I was at a meeting with the Division of State Lands today talking about the Common School Fund. I'm pretty sure I much would have rather been at the foundation luncheon than with the Division of State Lands.
We wanted you there, where you were, though.
I did want to say I've had the opportunity to be in some of the schools this week, primarily because I got kids in the district, and everybody's really excited about school starting. It's a really great opportunity. One of the other things I just think is a pride point for this school district, I get to attend a lot of school board activities, and they are still shocked that we do orchestra in the elementary schools. Exactly. And our music program, our choir program, everything we do with regard to our music program, school board members across this state are extremely envious of what we've been able to accomplish here. And I just wanted to be sure to pass that along to all of you, because we are one of the very few school districts in the state that has orchestra in the elementary grades and band at the elementary grades, and it's reflected in all the state championships that we bring back in those areas. So it's something I think is a pride point for this school district.
Thanks, Jim. Nancy?
Well, I have a bunch. First of all, the SCEF luncheon was fabulous, and I just have to remind everyone of a quote I heard there today, which is that if you want to go, the speaker, whose name was Lou, someone help me, Raja, is African and gave us a lot of the worldview from Africa. And he said, when you want to go fast, go alone. And when you want to go far, go with people. And it was a really good thought about how collectively we get a lot done. It was a great luncheon, really inspirational. I wanted to comment on the South Salem High School senior, Sequoia Pranger, who did an awesome job in the first ever Chopped teen tournament. She was one of 16 high school students chosen out of 800 applicants to participate, and she was one to make it to the Final Four. The filming took place in April and aired in July and August. They were given a basket of unlikely food combinations and challenged to create an appetizer, a main course, and a dessert that were judged on creativity, presentation, and taste. She said that it was an experience of a lifetime and just made her want to do better, to do more, to go further in the field of culinary arts. The judges said that her entree, which was something with octopus, was the best thing they tasted for the night, but she forgot to put her kumquats on the plate, so she was eliminated. But great cooking. Next, it's kind of a South Salem theme here tonight, but Friday was named Saxon Day throughout the state, which was a exercise that history teacher, government teacher at South had students who wanted to learn the process of getting something passed at the legislature. And they worked with Senator Jackie Winters and I think Representative Vicki Berger, and worked on a resolution honoring South Salem and got the day throughout the state of Oregon named Saxon Day. There was a Saxon flag that hung over the Capitol, and they had a big assembly about it. At the same time, on that day, the South Salem received the Oregonian Trophy, which is awarded to the high school at each level, 6A, 5A, on down, that has accumulated the most points in athletics, the arts, academics, and it's been awarded for 15 years. This is the first time a Salem Keizer school has gotten it. And if you look at the list, it says Jesuit, 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 South Salem. Go Saxons. That's it.
Is this when you end with, it's a great day to be a Saxon?
It's a great day to be a Saxon.
Anybody else? All right. Superintendent Perry, do you have some closing comments?
I have a couple of closing comments. I'm afraid to say it's been a smooth start especially with transportation, because we just want to get to the end of the week. So I'm just going to say things are moving along quite nicely in the transportation department. I was impressed that they were here tonight for a spotlight, because I think that might be a lot to ask on the second week of school. But really, transportation has gone well. We had kindergarten today, and they still got here tonight. So I'll tell you next time if it was a smooth start, because I don't want to jinx anything. I had a chance to visit Keizer Rotary last week, and the best part about this Keizer Rotary was that I got to see all 6 high school athletic directors and all 6 head football coaches in one spot out in Keizer. And if you haven't been to Keizer Rotary, you know they are really only McNary fans, that once a year they open this up. And so we got a little snapshot of all the football seasons coming up. And what I was most impressed about was the commitment to character building and not just to winning the game. And it was evident in how each person spoke about their program, from the athletic directors to the head coaches. It was never about winning and losing. It was all about building young men. So that was impressive. And it was nice that Keizer Rotary, this is their 20-something year of doing that, if you didn't know that. And then on the first 2 days of school, I made it to 6 schools by noon on the second day. McKay High School, I got to watch their orientation day and their LINK program. They might be one of the longer running LINK programs in the nation, potentially. LINK stands for linking kids into school. So upperclassmen are trained. They have a cadre of 10 to 12 students that are incoming freshmen, and they call them, remind them of the orientation day, help them with their schedules. They are linked to this group of kids, and then they check in on them on the first couple weeks. I was talking to the advisor, and I said, do you think that LINK makes a difference in the success of, can you tell me how that makes a difference in their success? And they said, well, they believe it does, but it's also that combination of summer school, that jump start to freshmen, and the LINK program, that those together are really critical in the success of students in that school. That was a great place. Awesome time at McKinley, because of course all the teachers love to have you in your classroom. My two favorite questions were, do you like your job? And what could I say? And is your job hard? Is your job hard? And I tried to say, it's not as hard as being a fifth grader. And they said, oh no, we think your job's harder. So I thought McKinley kids were especially engaging with me. And then I also have an opportunity, as kind of a looking forward, the Keizer City Council, I've met with the mayor and the city manager in Keizer, and they've invited me to attend the Keizer City Council on a regular basis, regular meaning 2 to 3 to 4 times a year. So we're hoping that in the next, either their meeting in September or October, I'll get in front of them. And each time they're encouraging me to bring information about the school district. So our first topic is going to be around the leadership transition at McNary and some information about state standards and the CTE Center, and then we'll go from there. And they're happy with whatever I want to come and talk to them about. And they said they'd put me at the front of the agenda and then I could leave. So I thought that was nice of them as well. So it has been really a smooth start to the year. Operationally, we're solid. And you know, an hour into the first day and you look around and you think nobody's left. And that's how it should be. So it's been a great start, and schools have been really welcoming. And from the downtown group, I think we would say charging ahead, and we're happy to be in the second week, but it's been a good start.
Thank you, Christy. Before I adjourn tonight's meeting, I want to thank the young men from 3 of our local troops for coming down and joining us tonight and leading us in the Pledge of Allegiance. Thank you very much. With that, we're gonna adjourn tonight's meeting. Thanks, everybody.